Well, that wasn't the best preparation ahead of PSG in the Super Cup. I mean, many were predicting ahead of that game against Paris Saint-Germain that we would lose about 10-0. And now after this performance, it could be 15 or 20-0. I'm not trying to be a cynic, but, you know, we see from these displays today that it's going to be a painful rebuild for Thomas Frank, and we're just at the beginning of our journey. We've had quite a good pre-season, having, you know, beaten Reading, drawn with Luton and Wickham, beaten Arsenal, drew with Newcastle, but our unbeaten run has come to an end with a 4-0 defeat to Bayern Munich out in Bavaria. And, you know, after watching this, I've made a few assessments and analysed it and thought there's a key thing that we should do heading into that PSG game if, you know, we see this game as important, another game to win a trophy. So we'll be discussing that, plus the performance of individuals and all that sort of good stuff today on the Saint Talk Spurs YouTube channel. But before we go any further, if you are new to the channel and you've just discovered me right now, then leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for getting the words out, and also let me know in the comments down below. Are you worried after that, or is there any takes you're thinking? And how desperately do we need a creative midfielder after that? That was my main takeaway, but we'll get into that shortly. Also, this is my second upload of the day. I did a reaction to the Nico Paz news. Rumours, according to Jack Pickbrook from The Athletic, that we are looking to sign the Como midfielder. As I said, it looks like, you know, a creative attacking midfielder is something that Tottenham are keen to do ahead of the transfer window. And we're leaving it last minute again after that Morgan White deal. So go and watch that after you've watched this. But yeah, 4-0 loss. Harry Kane, Kingsley Coman, Lennart Karl and Jonah Kusi-Asare on the score sheet for the German Giants. And the stats and the game report are not good reading. Bayern with 26 shots, 8 on target and 58% possession, to Spurs' 7 shots, 3 on target, 42% possession. And now these stats have been quite, not similar, but against the other top European opposition we've faced, Newcastle and Arsenal, our opposition had more shots, less on target, and we had less possession, but we were more clinical in attack. But from what I saw today, I mean, first of all, I want to react to 2 key moments. One, Harry Kane is blatantly offside for his goal. I mean, even the back line steps up and plays him off, so that goal shouldn't have counted, first of all. And second of all, I don't think it was a penalty for... I believe Palhinha hasn't really touched him that much. I mean, what a debut for Palhinha, by the way. But I believe it wasn't a penalty, and, you know, Harry Kane missed it. So maybe the stars were aligned for that moment, and he missed it for a certain reason. Maybe he, you know, choked it on purpose. But thinking about the game in itself, and the title of this video, what we should learn, what we must do after this game, you know, because obviously we play PSG in less than 7 days' time, 6 days' time, in fact. I'm not sure about that midfield lineup today from Thomas Frank of Palhinha, Bentancur, and also Upemanco in a sort of triangle. I understand that he was looking maybe to be a bit more defensive, but I think you should only be playing one of Palhinha or Bentancur, and then Upemanco, I don't think is the answer to our 10. We now need to go out and sign a creative midfielder, Tottenham Hotspur. It is a must. After missing out on Morgan White, we need to go and explore deals for Eberechi Eze or someone of that ilk, because I'm not too happy with our creativity. Again, a game where we didn't create too much, and it was just a bit of a worry heading into the new season that we are lacking so much in creative areas, especially now that Heung-min Son has left, James Maddison's injured, Dan Kulusevski's injured, and we don't have Solanke. That's a lot of goal contributions. I saw a tweet earlier by Mitch Fretton saying that the amount of goal contributions, I think that those combined was 60 goal contributions, Son, Maddison and Kulusevski. So that is going to be a massive chasm for us to sort. And the likes of Tel, Odebear, Kudus have a lot of potential, but some of them are still raw. And Kudus, I mean, Kudus looks great, but he's a long way off being the talisman for this side. So I am worried in that regard. But it's not so much. I feel like when we look at ourselves defensively, you know, Vicario was at fault for a lot of these goals, beaten, you know, by 3 wonder goals, so he could have done a bit better. And you can see maybe some of the defenders are a bit nervous to get involved because of injury and what we saw from James Maddison, especially with the season literally on the horizon. Apart from Romero, who crushed into Harry Kane twice, which was quite weird. But that's my one worry. I feel like when it comes to our midfield, I think we do in general this pre-season look more solid under Thomas Frank, but he needs to try and unlock some of our creative juices because I don't think Richarlison's good enough. I worry for the raw players in that forward line. We just desperately need a creative midfielder to come in and, sew passes together and make us tick and, link up that forward line because it is a lot of kudos dribbling from deep and not really being able to do anything. And that's where my worries now come from. But apart from that, yeah, not really much to write home about. No positives, really. I'd say my lineup for the midfield next week would be something along the lines of Bentancur, Boerval, and then I'm not sure who I'd put in the 10. Maybe put Sarr as an 8 instead of Boerval. But yeah, I'm very, very concerned. I thought, there was just Mickey van der Ven defended well in the first half. I thought we looked more structured in the first half. We played a lot of pre-season games. We played, Reading, Luton, Wickham, Newcastle, Arsenal. We played 6 pre-season games, and then we've got PSG and then Burnley. We're straight into the Premier League. All I'll say is I am a bit annoyed at Tottenham's last-minuteness. I was having a debate earlier with a couple of my friends in a group chat. I think that Tottenham's window's been all right. I'm happy with what we've done, but we still need to do more. We still need to get that 10 in. I think if we get that 10 in, then a lot of our answers get solved. But who is that going to be? I said recently, I did a video with Alice exploring, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch that after this, but exploring what the number 10 should be for Tottenham Hotspur, all the different names that came to mind. And I feel like we're sleeping. We're not being very active in the transfer window to get these deals done. And that's where my worries come from. But we've got till, what is it now, the 7th of August. We've got till, I think it's the 1st of September, the window's shut. So, time's a ticking, Daniel Levy. You've got to go and pull your finger out and make something happen. And don't get me wrong, Bayern are one of the best teams in Europe. I think we've got to remember that. I wasn't expecting us to win today. I was expecting maybe a tighter competition and maybe a bit more from Spurs. But the way I see it is, I think, Bayern in the backyard pre-season, you can't sometimes look too far into it. I saw Arsenal fans saying the same about the Villarreal game last night. So patience is what I'd ask for this season from Spurs fans. It's not going to be easy. We're changing a lot of our tactics from what we were doing under Ange Postecoglou. Rome wasn't built in a day, but I still believe Thomas Frank is the right man to lead us to glory in the long term. I think he's got the right things about him, and he's just experimenting. He tried Palhinha and Bentancur in midfield today, didn't work, so he hooked him off at half time. Palhinha needs to have someone around him who's going to run, and Bentancur, he's not really that mobile anymore since his injury, so I feel like it's one or the other, and he's learned that today. Brennan Johnson, I'm not seeing too much from. I'm a bit worried about him. But I want to praise Kudus again. I feel like that's the evidence, and I saw Billy T tweet this as well. That's evidence that if you put your money where your mouth is and actually buy a decent player and put them in the team straight away, that's what will happen. They'll actually be a star. But we're not doing that when it comes to the number 10 position, which is a massive frustration. So, yeah, also think Jed Spence, I think he was good at left back. He was robbed for one of the goals, but he looks quite comfortable back there. So I'm not too fussed with, I feel like we maybe need a backup right back instead of a backup left back. But let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. And let me know what you made of the match in general. Are you worried now heading into the new season? Who do you want to sign as that number 10? Is there a name that comes to mind? But if you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and go and watch one of my other videos after you watch that. They'll appear on screen on the end screen. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Up the Spurs. Hopefully it's not 10-0 against PSG.